Well, if you're faced with these kind of low water conditions, there can be no finer way to fish the river than with a float. I love grabbing my glide rod and coming down somewhere like this with a bit of fast water, a bit of pace, coming down with a nice big bait and a nice big float. And for this season, we've got 2 new floats. The Coram never done floats before, not like this. I'll start with the more unique pattern, the Specie Float. As you can see, this is a nice big pattern that's designed for use with big baits in very rapid water. That flat top, we've done that flat top on both floats. It just enables you to see it much further down the run. The Specie stick, like the Avon float that we're going to do as well, comes with a 3mm stem. This alloy stem keeps the float really, really stable, even in very turbulent water. And it's also got an inline port, so your line actually runs through the center of this float. And that's really important when you're holding baits back, keeping that float in the right position. The more traditional Avon style float is a real beauty. I love fishing with this float for lots of different species. I'll use it for perch in the winter, barbel and chub in the summer. Really magic pattern. Slightly longer stem on this for obvious reasons. We've got a more tapered shape at the top, and again, that beautiful flat top. That flat top, like I say, it's a visual indicator. It helps you see the float a lot further down the run. But if you also use it in conjunction with the Coram Glide Silicone, it's much easier to rig. Let me show you how to rig up a float like this to catch some big chub and barbel. So rigging up a stick float, especially one of these new Coram ones, is really, really simple. A lot of people think it's complicated, but it really isn't. If I can do it, then anybody can do it. As you can see here, I've got 3 bits of silicone. Got one of the bigger pieces here and then 2 of the smaller pieces on the stem itself. That, even though I'm using the inline float, that just holds everything in position. It means if I want to swap over to the Avon float, I can. I've got one tucked up right at the bottom of the float, and then one just over hanging at the bottom of the float. So there's a bit of flexibility there. It just keeps everything nicely in line. Now you might be wondering about shotting patterns for these floats. Well, here I've got a 5g Specie Float on. So what I've got underneath, I've got a 5g Olivet. It's really that simple. If you want the float to ride a little bit higher in the water, use a 4g Olivet. And that is literally just running behind a little quick connection swivel, which just stops the hook link tangling up when you're using big baits like bread, meat, cheese. The hook link, you can adjust the distance that you want to fish your bait from the Olivet. So if in a really fast water like this, you might go for a slightly longer hook link like I have here. It's just over probably 1.5 foot, but you can go down as short as sort of 6 inches if you've got a bit more of a steady glide. And underneath that, we just put a little dropper, a size 4. You might even only use a size 8. Some days you might use nothing at all. That's how simple it is, folks. Get out there and give the glide a try. Well, something that we're really keen on here at Coram, and we say it time and time again, when you've caught a fish like this, it's giving you such a great battle. Always give it a good rest in the oxygenated water before you get it out for the pictures. Well, I'm happy with that. Caught on one of the new floats. You can't beat summer float fishing.